The alarm goes off at 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes before Jamal Carter actually needs to wake up, but those 13 minutes are sacred. 13 minutes to lie in the pre-dawn darkness of his small South Side Chicago apartment and remember what it feels like to simply exist without the weight of responsibility pressing down on his chest. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. But at exactly 6 a.m., reality arrives in the form of a 7-year-old hurricane named Zara, who launches herself onto his bed with the kind of energy that shouldn't be legal before sunrise. Daddy, wake up. It's Waffle Wednesday. Her small hands press against his face, her breath warm and sweet with sleep as she giggles at his theatrical groaning. Baby girl, Jamal mumbles, one eye cracking open to take in his daughter's face, her deep brown skin still creased from her pillowcase, her natural hair standing in every direction like a magnificent crown. Waffle Wednesday doesn't start until Daddy's feet hit the floor. Then make your feet hit the floor. Zara bounces once more for emphasis before scrambling off the bed, her pink nightgown twisted around her small frame. I already picked out my clothes and I found your work shirt. The clean one. It was under the couch. Jamal sits up slowly, his 34-year-old body protesting the movement more than it should. 6 years of working the night shift as head of security at Rousseau Technologies has aged him in ways that go beyond the premature gray threading through his close-cropped hair. His warm hazel eyes find the digital clock, 6:03 a.m. In exactly 57 minutes, he needs to have Zara fed, dressed, hair done, and delivered to his mother's house before he crashes for 5 hours of sleep. Then he'll wake up, pick Zara up from his mother's, help with homework, make dinner, handle bath time, read stories, and get her to bed by 8 so he can leave for his 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift. The routine is relentless. The routine is exhausting. The routine is everything. In the kitchen, Jamal moves through the morning choreography he's perfected over 3 years since Alicia died. The waffle iron that was a wedding gift sits on the counter, one of the few things he couldn't bear to sell when he'd downsized from their house in Hyde Park to this 2-bedroom apartment. He measures the batter with practiced efficiency while Zara sets the table, her tongue poking out in concentration as she carefully places the mismatched plates and forks. Daddy, can we put chocolate chips in mine? Zara asks, already climbing onto the counter to reach the cabinet where he keeps the special ingredients. What did Grandma say about too much sugar before school? Jamal catches her around the waist, lifting her down with ease despite the growing ache in his lower back. She said it makes me bouncy like a basketball. Zara grins, unrepentant. But Grandma also says a little bit of joy never hurt anybody. Jamal can't help but smile at hearing his mother's words coming out of his daughter's mouth. All right, little bit of joy. But only a little bit. As the waffles cook, he moves to the bathroom where he's laid out everything needed for Zara's hair. This part always takes the longest. Her thick, beautiful coils require patience, moisture, and a gentle touch, things Alicia had made look effortless but that Jamal had to learn through YouTube tutorials and his mother's patient instruction. His large, calloused hands, more accustomed to checking security badges and typing incident reports, work carefully through Zara's hair with leave-in conditioner, a wide-tooth comb, and genuine love. Ouch, Daddy, you're pulling, Zara whines, squirming in the kitchen chair he's dragged into the bathroom for better light. I'm being as gentle as I can, baby. Your hair's got some tangles today. Did you take your bonnet off again? It's itchy. But there's guilt in her voice because they both know the bonnet is important. I know, sweet girl. But it protects your beautiful hair. Just like I protect you, right? He kisses the top of her head, breathing in the coconut scent of her hair products. Now, 2 puffs or 1 braid today? 2 puffs. Like Princess Tiana. 20 minutes later, Zara sits at their small kitchen table, her hair perfectly styled in 2 high puffs secured with purple bands that match her shirt. She attacks her chocolate chip waffle with the enthusiasm of someone who hasn't eaten in days rather than hours. Jamal watches her while nursing his second cup of coffee, gas station brand, not the fancy stuff, because every dollar matters. The bills are stacked on the counter where he left them last night. ComEd, $87. Internet, $65. Zara's school fees, $40. Car insurance, $130. The medical bills from Alicia's final hospitalization have finally been paid off, but the cost of simply existing never stops. His salary as head of security at Rousseau Technologies, $52,000 a year, covers everything with about $200 left over each month if they're careful. If nothing breaks, if no emergencies happen, if they only buy what they need and never what they want. Daddy. Zara's voice is small now, the sugar-fueled energy dimming as she looks at the papers scattered across the counter. At 7, she's already learned to read his worry. Are we okay? Jamal's chest tightens. She shouldn't have to ask that question. She shouldn't even know those words carry weight. We're more than okay, baby girl. He crouches beside her chair, taking her small hands in his much larger ones. His palms are rough from work, from carrying, from doing everything that needs doing. We've got each other, we've got grandma and grandpa, we've got this roof over our heads and waffles in our bellies. We're rich in all the ways that matter. But not rich in money. It's not a question. She's observant, his daughter. Too observant. Money's just paper, love is what's real. And we have so much love, it doesn't even fit in this apartment. It spills out into the hallway and down the stairs and all the way to the sky. Zara considers this with the seriousness of a judge. Then she nods, satisfied, and returns to her waffle. Crisis averted. But Jamal knows these conversations will come more frequently as she gets older. Already, she started noticing that her classmates have bigger houses, newer clothes, vacations to Disney World. Already, she's learning what it means to have less. At 6:47 a.m., they're in his 2011 Honda Civic, the one with the temperamental heater and the crack in the windshield he can't afford to fix, driving through the streets of Chicago as the city wakes up. Zara chatters about her upcoming spelling test and how her friend Mia got a new backpack with butterflies on it. Jamal makes the appropriate sounds of interest while his mind calculates. 3 more days until payday, $40 in checking, a quarter tank of gas. Zara needs new sneakers because she's outgrowing everything. His mother, Jamal Carter, is waiting on her porch in Bronzeville when they arrive. At 62, she's still strong and sharp, her silver locks pulled back in a wrap, her dark skin barely lined despite raising 3 boys and now helping with Zara 5 days a week. There's my baby. She scoops Zara into a hug, then studies Jamal with eyes that see everything. You look tired, Jay. I'm always tired, Mama. He kisses her cheek, breathing in the familiar scent of cocoa butter and coffee. But I'll sleep well today. Got the apartment nice and dark. You're working too hard. When's the last time you did something for yourself? I'm doing it right now. Getting 5 hours of uninterrupted sleep is pure luxury. He tries to keep his tone light, but his mother's expression tells him she's not fooled. Jamal Carter, you're 34 years old. You should be dating, going out with friends, living life. Not just surviving it. Zara is my life, Mama. Everything else is just noise. His mother's eyes soften with sadness and pride mixed together. Alicia wouldn't want you living like a monk, baby. She'd want you to be happy. The mention of his late wife sends the familiar ache through Jamal's chest. 3 years and 2 months since the car accident on Lakeshore Drive. 3 years and 2 months of being both mother and father. 3 years and 2 months of half-living. I am happy, he says, and it's not entirely a lie. Zara makes him happy. The way she laughs makes him happy. But there's a loneliness that lives in his bones now, a missing piece that can't be filled by his daughter's love, no matter how pure and complete it is. Back at his apartment by 7:15 a.m., Jamal sets 3 alarms and falls into bed still wearing his jeans. Sleep claims him instantly, pulling him under like a tide. No dreams. Just blessed unconsciousness. He wakes at 12:30 p.m. to his phone buzzing with a text from his supervisor, Marcus. Board meeting today. Big boss wants extra security on the executive floor tonight. Double-check all access points before shift. Might mean overtime. The word gleams like a promise. Time and a half means an extra $200, maybe $250. That's Zara's new sneakers. That's getting ahead of the electric bill. That's breathing room. I'll be there early, Jamal types back. Thanks for the heads up. He stretches, feeling every one of his vertebrae pop, and forces himself into the shower. The water heater in this building is inconsistent at best, and today it decides to be temperamental, alternating between lukewarm and scalding. But Jamal has learned to be grateful for small mercies. At least there's hot water at all. By 1 p.m., he's at his mother's house, finding Zara at the kitchen table with homework spread everywhere. Daddy! She launches herself at him with the same enthusiasm as this morning. Grandma made grilled cheese and we watched one episode of Bluey, and I got all my math problems right except 2, but Miss Johnson said that's really good. Jamal lifts her up, settling her on his hip even though she's getting too big for this. That is really good, baby. Which ones did you get wrong? The ones with borrowing. I don't understand why you have to borrow from the tens place. Why can't the number just stay where it is? Tell you what. Tonight before I leave for work, we'll draw it out with your blocks. Make it visual. Sounds good. Sounds good, Zara echoes, then drops her voice to a whisper. Daddy, Grandma made extra grilled cheese. I think she thinks you're too skinny. His mother appears in the doorway, and the look on her face confirms Zara's observation. I don't think. I know. When's the last time you ate a full meal? I eat, Mama. Eating and eating right are two different things. Come on, sit. I made enough for both of you. The next few hours pass in a familiar rhythm. Homework with Zara, going over spelling words, drawing out math problems with wooden blocks until the concept clicks. His mother presses Tupperware containers into his hands, leftover chicken, rice and peas, cornbread, and refuses to let him leave without them. By 5 p.m., they're back at the apartment, and Jamal starts dinner while Zara plays with her dolls on the living room floor. Daddy, can we video call Grandpa? Zara asks as he stirs pasta on the stove. Sure, baby. Grab my tablet. His father, Dennis, answers on the second ring, his retired Army colonel bearing still evident even in his casual sweatshirt. There's my favorite granddaughter. I'm your only granddaughter, Grandpa. Which makes you automatically the favorite. That's just logic. Dennis winks at the camera before his eyes find Jamal. Son, you look tired. So everyone keeps telling me, Jamal says, but he's smiling. His father had been skeptical when Jamal left his IT position in the army to come home and marry Alicia. Even more skeptical when Jamal took the security job instead of finishing his computer science degree. But when Alicia died, Dennis had shown up without judgment, just support. I'm good, Dad. Got some overtime tonight. The big boss is having some kind of important meeting. The French lady? The one they call the Ice Queen. Dennis' eyebrows rise with interest. That's the one. Ms. Rousseau. Though I've never actually met her. I just secured the building she runs. From what I hear, nobody really meets her. Just experience her from a distance. Dennis chuckles. Like a force of nature. Jamal has heard the stories. Camille Rousseau, the 38-year-old CEO who built Rousseau Technologies from a small software startup into a mid-sized powerhouse worth $400 million. The woman who shows up at 6 a.m. and leaves at 10 p.m. The woman whose standards are impossibly high and whose personal life is non-existent. The woman whose divorce 2 years ago was apparently so cold and efficient, it was over in less than 3 months. He's seen her exactly twice in his 6 years working security. Once from a distance in the parking garage. Once in the elevator, where she'd been on her phone the entire ride, never once acknowledging his existence beyond a curt nod. Well, her meetings mean overtime for me, Jamal says. So I'm grateful for the force of nature. After dinner, pasta with butter and the Parmesan cheese that Zara insists makes everything fancy, comes bath time. Zara's laughter echoes off the bathroom tiles as she makes a bubble beard and mustache. And Jamal finds himself laughing too, the stress of bills and exhaustion temporarily forgotten. Daddy, do you ever wish we had a bigger bathtub? Zara asks as he wraps her in a towel, rubbing her dry with gentle efficiency. I wish we had a lot of things, baby. But this bathtub works just fine for getting you clean. Kennedy has a bathtub with jets. Like a hot tub. She said I could come over sometime. Jamal's hands still for just a moment. Kennedy is the daughter of a doctor, living in a house in Lincoln Park that probably costs more than Jamal will make in 10 years. That's nice of her to invite you. Do you think? Zara's voice is small now, uncertain. Do you think Mommy would be sad that we don't have a big house anymore? The question hits Jamal like a physical blow. He kneels down, bringing himself to Zara's eye level, his hands on her small shoulders. Baby girl, listen to me. Your mama loved you more than anything in this whole world. She loved our family. And you know what she cared about? That we were together. That we loved each other. That we were good people. Not how big our house was. But we had to sell our house after she died. We did. Because Daddy needed to make some changes so I could take better care of you. And you know what? I'd live in a tent if it meant keeping you safe and happy. The size of our home doesn't matter. What matters is that it's filled with love. Zara thinks about this, water dripping from her hair onto the towel. Then she throws her arms around his neck, squeezing tight. I love you, Daddy. You're the best daddy in the whole world. Jamal holds her, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo, feeling the fierce protective love that has defined his life for 3 years. I love you too, baby girl. More than all the stars in the sky. At 7:30 p.m., Zara is in bed, her hair wrapped in her bonnet, her favorite stuffed bunny tucked under her arm. Jamal reads her 2 chapters of their current book, a story about a girl detective, and then sits beside her in the dark, singing the same lullaby his mother sang to him and that Alicia sang to Zara. Hush, little baby, don't say a word, Daddy's gonna buy you a mockingbird. By the time he reaches the end, Zara's breathing has evened out, her small body relaxed in sleep. Jamal watches her for a long moment, this perfect human being he and Alicia created. This is the reason for everything. At 8 p.m., he changes into his security uniform, black pants, black polo with the Rousseau Technologies logo, black shoes polished to military standards. His badge goes on his belt, his flashlight and radio clipped beside it. He checks his reflection in the bathroom mirror and sees a man who looks older than 34, a man carrying weight that doesn't show on a scale. But he also sees a man who shows up. A man who does the work. A man his daughter can be proud of. At 9 p.m., Mrs. Rodriguez from next door arrives to stay with Zara while he works. She's a retired teacher, a widow herself, and she refuses to take more than $20 a night despite Jamal's protests. You're a good boy, Jamal, she always says. Let me help. By 9:30 p.m., he's in his car, driving north toward the Loop, where Rousseau Technologies occupies 15 floors of a gleaming high-rise. The city looks different at night, brighter but lonelier, full of people heading to bars and restaurants and lives that feel impossibly distant from his own routine. He's not bitter about it. Bitterness is a luxury he can't afford. But sometimes, especially on these drives between his world and the world of the building he guards, Jamal wonders what his life might look like if Alicia were still alive. If he'd finished his degree. If he were working in IT instead of security. If Zara had the bigger bathtub she mentioned so casually. But there's no point in wondering. This is his life. And he's going to show up for every moment of it. At 9:55 p.m., he walks through the employee entrance of Rousseau Technologies, his badge already in hand. The night shift lobby is quiet, most of the building's 800 employees long gone. Just the cleaning crew, a few workaholics, and now Jamal, starting another 12-hour watch. Carter, you're early, says Marcus, the shift supervisor, a 50-something former cop with a belly and a good heart. The executive floor's still occupied. The big meeting ran late. Ms. Rousseau's office light is still on. I'll do a full sweep, make sure everything's locked down. That's why you're my best man. Thorough. Marcus claps him on the shoulder. Oh, and HR sent a memo. They're running some kind of employee engagement initiative. Supposed to make us all feel valued, or whatever. He rolls his eyes. Like they're suddenly gonna care about the people who keep the lights on. Jamal just nods, heading for the elevator. He's heard it all before. Corporate initiatives that amount to nothing. Promises of appreciation that never materialize. He doesn't work here for the recognition. He works here for $52,000 and the health insurance that covers Zara's annual checkups. The executive floor. The 15th is quiet when he arrives. The floor-to-ceiling windows offer a spectacular view of Chicago's nighttime skyline, all glittering lights and distant possibility. The offices up here are plush, with real wood furniture and artwork on the walls. Jamal does his sweep methodically, checking doors, testing locks, making notes on his tablet. When he reaches the corner office, Ms. Rousseau's domain, he notices the light under the door. It's 10:47 p.m. She's still here. He's about to move on when he hears something that stops him in his tracks. A sound that doesn't belong in the pristine, controlled world of executive leadership. Crying. Not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakable. The sound of someone trying very hard not to fall apart. Jamal freezes. Every instinct tells him to walk away, to pretend he heard nothing, to respect the privacy of someone who is clearly at their most vulnerable. But there's another instinct too, the one that made him a good soldier, a good father, a good man. The instinct that says when someone is hurting, you don't just walk away. He knocks. 3 soft raps against the heavy wooden door. The crying stops immediately. Who is it? Her voice is sharp, controlled, every trace of emotion locked down. Security, Ms. Rousseau. Just doing my evening sweep. Wanted to make sure you're all right. The pause. Then, I'm fine. Thank you. But she doesn't sound fine. She sounds like someone who has said, I'm fine, so many times it's lost all meaning. Jamal should walk away now. He's done his duty. She's dismissed him. But he finds himself saying, Ms. Rousseau, with respect, I've been doing security for 6 years. And I've learned that when someone says they're fine at almost 11 p.m. while sitting alone in their office, they're usually not. Another pause. Longer this time. Then the door opens. Camille Rousseau stands in the doorway of her office, and for a moment, Jamal forgets how to breathe. She's nothing like the polished, intimidating figure he's glimpsed in passing. Her usually sleek hair, dark and glossy, probably costing more to maintain than his monthly rent, is slightly mussed, falling around her shoulders instead of pulled back in its signature severe bun. Her makeup, always flawless in photos, has been cried off, revealing eyes that are red-rimmed and exhausted. She's still wearing her work clothes, a burgundy blouse and black pants, but she's barefoot, her designer heels abandoned somewhere in the office behind her. She's beautiful. Not in the untouchable way of magazine covers, but in a raw, human way that makes Jamal's chest tighten with unexpected feeling. And she's looking at him like she's seeing him for the first time, really seeing him. Not as part of the furniture. Not as the invisible security guard who checks the doors. You're Carter, she says, and there's surprise in her voice that she knows his name. Yes, ma'am. Jamal Carter, head of night security. I know who you are. She says it almost defensively, then seems to catch herself. Her hand comes up to her face, wiping at her eyes in a gesture that's more tired than self-conscious. I'm sorry. You caught me at the moment. No apology necessary, Ms. Rousseau. Jamal keeps his voice gentle, the same tone he uses when Zara wakes from a nightmare. Everyone has moments. She lets out a sound that might be a laugh or might be a sob. Not everyone. Some people have perfected the art of not having them. Her dark eyes, a brown so deep they're almost black, meet his with an intensity that makes him feel simultaneously seen and X-rayed. But apparently, I'm not as good at it as I thought. There's a beat of silence where they just look at each other. The powerful CEO and the night security guard. 2 people who exist in the same building but might as well live on different planets. Then Camille steps back, gesturing to him into her office. Come in, please. I'd rather not have this conversation in the hallway where anyone could see. Jamal hesitates. Every protocol he's ever learned says this is a bad idea. You don't enter the CEO's office uninvited. You don't cross professional boundaries. You maintain appropriate distance. But there's something in her expression, a kind of desperate loneliness that he recognizes because he sees it in his own mirror every morning, that makes him step through the door. Her office is massive, taking up the entire corner of the building. Windows on 2 sides offer panoramic views of Chicago. The furniture is modern and expensive, a glass desk that probably costs more than his car, leather chairs, A sofa that looks like it's never been sat on, artwork that Jamal suspects is original and not prints. There's a small kitchen area with a coffee maker that looks like it belongs in a spaceship. A door leads to what appears to be a private bathroom. But despite all the expensive trappings, the office feels sterile. Cold. There are no personal photos on the desk. No plants. No signs that a human being actually occupies this space for 12 to 14 hours a day. The only sign of disorder is on her desk, where papers are scattered and a tablet sits face up. And her phone, which has been tossed carelessly onto the papers, screen still glowing. Camille follows his gaze and then, surprisingly, she laughs. It's a bitter sound. That's what did it. That phone. That message. Jamal doesn't know what to say, so he says nothing. He's learned that sometimes silence is the most supportive response. I was trying to text my therapist, Camille says, walking to the windows, her back to him now as she stares out at the city. Dr. Reeves. I see her every Tuesday at 7 p.m., have for 2 years since my divorce. Except tonight I had to cancel because of the board meeting. So I was sending her a message, apologizing, explaining. She trails off. And you sent it to the wrong person? Jamal guesses. Worse. Camille turns back to face him, and there's something fragile in her expression now. I sent it to our new business development director, Michael Chin. The man I've been working with for 6 months on our biggest expansion project. The man who I've been nothing but professional with. The man who now thinks I'm completely losing my mind. She walks to her desk and picks up the phone, pulling up the message. For a moment, Jamal thinks she's going to read it aloud, but instead, she just hands him the phone. Choose. Dr. Reeves, I need to move our session. The board meeting is running late and I'm sitting here thinking about how I can't remember the last time someone touched me with kindness. Not professionally. Not transactionally. But it actually touched me like I'm a human being worth caring about. I'm so tired of being invisible behind this title. I'm so tired of being the ice queen when all I want is to feel warm. I know this isn't what you want to hear via text, but I'm falling apart and I don't know how to stop it. Jamal reads it twice, feeling each word land in his chest. Then he hands the phone back carefully, like it's something fragile. That's... He searches for the right word. That's honest. That's humiliating, Camille corrects, but there's no heat in it. Just exhaustion. Michael responded immediately. Very professionally. Said he understood and that perhaps we should schedule a meeting to discuss work-life balance initiatives. Which is corporate speak for, my CEO is having a mental breakdown. Or, Jamal says carefully, it's a man who doesn't know how to respond to genuine human vulnerability because our world doesn't teach us how. Camille looks at him sharply, as if she's trying to figure out if he's patronizing her. Whatever she sees in his face must satisfy her because her shoulders slump slightly. Maybe. She moves to the leather chair behind her desk and sinks into it, suddenly looking much smaller than her reputation. Do you know what the worst part is? Not the embarrassment. Not that Michael now knows I'm barely holding it together. The worst part is that everything I wrote is true. Jamal knows he should leave. He's already crossed too many lines. But instead he finds himself walking closer, not close enough to invade her space, but close enough that she doesn't have to project her voice across the room. Ms. Rousseau. Camille, she interrupts. If you've read my therapy texts, I think we're beyond titles. Camille, he says, and her name feels strange in his mouth, too familiar and not familiar enough all at once. I think most people feel invisible sometimes. No matter who they are or what they've accomplished. Do you? She's looking up at him now, those dark eyes searching his face. Feel invisible? Jamal thinks about his daily routine. The way people look through him at the security desk. The way his daughter's teachers talk to him like he's just a caretaker, not a parent. The way women swipe left on his dating profile the moment they see security guard and single father. The way the world has decided that who he is, what he does, how he lives, makes him invisible. Yeah, he says quietly. I do. Something shifts in Camille's expression. No pity. Something more like recognition. What do you do? When do you feel invisible? I remind myself that the people who matter see me. My daughter sees me. My parents see me. My neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez, who watches Zara when I work nights, she sees me. He pauses. And I try to see other people. Really see them. Because maybe if we all made more effort to look at each other, really look, we'd all feel a little less invisible. Camille is quiet for a long moment, and Jamal wonders if he said too much, gotten too personal, crossed some line that's going to get him fired. Then she says, "Your daughter?" "Zara. She's 7. You're married?" But there's no judgment in the question, just curiosity. "Widowed. 3 years now." "I'm sorry." And it sounds like she means it. That must be incredibly hard. Raising a child alone. Some days are harder than others. But she's worth every moment. She's the best thing I've ever done with my life. Camille nods slowly, and there's something wistful in her expression. "I don't have children. My ex-husband didn't want them. Said they would be a distraction from building the company. I agreed at the time because I thought the company was enough. That success could fill all the empty spaces. And now I have a $400 million company and an office. I work 15 hours a day and I go home to a penthouse that echoes because there's no one there." Her voice cracks slightly. "I have everything I thought I wanted and I've never felt more alone." Jamal doesn't think. He just acts. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out his phone, pulling up his photos. He turns the screen toward her. It's from this morning. Zara at the kitchen table with her chocolate chip waffle, her hair in perfect puffs, her smile bright and syrup sticky and absolutely joyful. "That's Zara," he says. "Right before school. We have waffles on Wednesday every week." Camille takes the phone gently, studying the photo with an intensity that suggests she's seeing something more than just a little girl. "She's beautiful. She has your eyes. And your smile. She has her mother's courage. Her mother's stubbornness. Her mother's good heart." Jamal swallows hard. "And yeah, maybe a little bit of my smile." Camille swipes to the next photo, Zara in her Halloween costume from last year, dressed as a scientist with a white lab coat Jamal had found at Goodwill. Then another, Zara and Jamal at Navy Pier, both grinning at the camera with the Ferris wheel behind them. "You take her everywhere," Camille observes. "She's everywhere." Camille hands the phone back, and when their fingers brush, Jamal feels something electric pass between them. She must feel it too because she pulls her hand back quickly, tucking it against her chest. "I should go," Jamal says, suddenly aware of how inappropriate this entire interaction has been. "Let you get back to?" He gestures vaguely at her desk. "Sitting alone in my office feeling sorry for myself?" Camille's smile is sad. "Yes, I suppose I should get back to that." "Or," Jamal says, surprising himself, "you could go home. Get some rest. Start fresh tomorrow." "I don't sleep well," Camille admits. "The penthouse is too quiet. The bed is too big. My thoughts are too loud." Jamal understands that more than she knows. How many nights has he lain awake in his own too big bed, the space beside him empty, the silence deafening? "Then maybe take a walk," he suggests. "Get some air. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I drive around the city. Just to be around other people, even if I'm not talking to them. Sometimes just knowing you're not the only person awake in the world makes the loneliness a little less heavy." Camille looks at him like he said something profound instead of just stating an obvious truth. "You're very wise for a security guard." Jamal should bristle at that. The subtle condescension, the assumption that his job title defines his capacity for insight. But he sees the exact moment she realizes what she said, sees the horror cross her face. "I didn't mean, that came out wrong. I just meant." "I know what you meant," Jamal says, not unkindly. "And for what it's worth, I have most of a computer science degree from Northwestern. I was in Army IT for 6 years. I took this job because it pays well enough and has good benefits and the hours work with being a single dad. But yeah, I'm just a security guard." The air quotes are gentle, not angry, but Camille flinches anyway. "I'm an asshole," she says bluntly. "You're human," Jamal corrects. "And you're having a hard night. We all say things we don't mean when we're drowning." "Are you always this kind?" There's genuine wonder in her voice. I try to be. My daughter is watching everything I do, learning how to be a person from watching me. I want her to learn kindness. Camille stands abruptly, and Jamal takes a step back, giving her space. She walks to the windows again, her arms wrapped around herself like she's cold even though the office is perfectly climate-controlled. I need to apologize to Michael, she says, more to herself than to Jamal. Send a professional follow-up. Maybe claim my phone was hacked or I was responding to the wrong conversation or you could tell him the truth, Jamal suggests. That you're human. That you had a moment. That you're working on it. Honesty is not rewarded in corporate America, Jamal. Especially not for women. Especially not for black women who are already fighting perceptions every single day. She turns to face him. If I show weakness, I'm done. Everything I've built will be questioned. The board will whisper. The shareholders will worry. The media will have a field day. So you can never be human? I can be human in therapy once a week. That's my allotted time. But her voice breaks on the last word, betraying her. Jamal's radio crackles to life. Carter, are you still 15? Is everything okay up there? He keys the mic. All clear, Marcus. Just finishing the sweep. Copy that. Take your time. When Jamal looks back at Camille, she's composed herself again. The mask is sliding back into place. The Ice Queen returning. Thank you, she says, and her voice has taken on that professional tone again. For checking on me. For being kind. I won't take up any more of your time. It's a dismissal. Polite but firm. Jamal should take it. Should nod and leave and go back to his normal routine and forget this ever happened. But something in him rebels against letting her disappear back into her loneliness. Against letting this moment of genuine human connection dissolve like it never existed. Camille, he says, and the use of her first name makes her freeze. If you ever need someone to talk to, someone who isn't your therapist or your board or anyone who has expectations of who you're supposed to be, my number is in the employee directory. She stares at him like he's just offered her something impossible. You're giving me your phone number? I'm offering to be a friend. If you want one. Why? Because everyone deserves to feel less invisible. Even CEOs. For a moment, Jamal thinks she's going to say no. Going to thank him politely and send him on his way and pretend this conversation never happened. Then she walks to her desk, picks up a business card, and scribbles something on the back of it with a gold pen. She hands it to him. That's my personal cell, she says. Not many people have it. If you ever need anything, truly need anything, you call it. And I'll answer. Jamal takes the card, feeling the weight of this exchange. They're no longer just CEO and security guards. They're two people who saw each other in a moment of vulnerability and chose connection over pretense. I should let you finish your work, he says, sliding the card into his pocket. I should go home, she says. Take that walk you suggested. They stand there for another moment, neither quite ready to end this strange, sacred moment. Then Camille does something unexpected. She steps forward and hugs him. It's brief, almost tentative. Her arms wrap around his waist, her head barely reaching his shoulder. She smells like expensive perfume and coffee and something essentially human underneath it all. Jamal is so surprised he almost doesn't react, but then his arms come up automatically, returning the embrace with the same gentle care he uses with his daughter. Thank you for seeing me, she whispers against his chest. Then she's pulling back, not meeting his eyes, already retreating into herself. Jamal leaves her office without another word, closing the door softly behind him. As he continues his rounds, checking the rest of the floor, his mind is racing. What just happened? Why did he give her his number? Why did she give him hers? What possible future exists where a CEO and a security guard maintain any kind of friendship? But he also can't stop thinking about the vulnerability in her voice. The loneliness in her eyes. The way she looked at the photo of Zara like she was seeing something precious and unattainable. He's seen a lot in his years working security. But he's never seen anything quite like Camille Rousseau letting her walls down. And he has a feeling, call it intuition or just wishful thinking, that this night is going to change both their lives in ways neither of them can predict. The next morning, Jamal's phone buzzes at 6:47 a.m., 13 minutes after his alarm. He's making Zara's breakfast, Pancake Friday, when he sees the text from an unknown number. "I took that walk last night. You were right. The city feels less lonely when you're moving through it. Thank you." His heart does something complicated in his chest. "Daddy, who's texting you?" Zara asks, syrup on her chin. "Just someone from work." He types back, "Glad it helped." Sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. "Would you like to have coffee sometime?" I find myself wanting to continue our conversation. Jamal stares at the screen. This is dangerous territory. CEOs don't have coffee with security guards. People from different worlds don't just become friends because of one vulnerable moment at midnight. But then he thinks about her eyes, how lonely they were, how human, and types, "Sure. Today? My treat. There's a place near your apartment in Bronzeville. Sip and savor? 2 p.m.? She knows where he lives. She's looked him up. The thought should unnerve him, but instead, it makes him feel seen. "I'll be there." At 1:45 p.m., after dropping Zara at his mother's with vague explanations about running errands, Jamal arrives at the coffee shop. He's wearing his nicest jeans and a button-down, feeling simultaneously overdressed and underdressed. Camille is already there, tucked into a corner booth, wearing jeans and a simple sweater. Her hair is down, no makeup, oversized sunglasses perched on her head. She looks nothing like the Ice Queen. She looks like a woman who might be his friend. "You came," she says when he slides into the booth across from her. "You asked." She's ordered him coffee, black, somehow knowing his preference, and there's a nervousness to her movements that makes him feel less alone in his own anxiety. "I don't know how to do this," Camille admits. "Make friends. Have normal conversations. Be a person outside of work." "Then let's start simple," Jamal says. "Tell me something real. Not CEO stuff. Just you." She's quiet for a moment, her fingers wrapped around her mug. Then, "I'm terrified of birds. Absolutely irrational fear. I once canceled a $1 million meeting because there was a pigeon in the parking garage." Jamal laughs, surprised and delighted. "Birds. They're unpredictable. And they have those terrible feet. My daughter would love you. She names every bird we see. Last week, we met a pigeon she called Frederick." Camille smiles, a real smile that transforms her entire face. "Tell me about her. Tell me everything." So he does. And for the first time in 3 years, Jamal talks to someone who isn't his mother or a teacher or a therapist. He talks to someone who listens like his words matter. And Camille, lonely, guarded Camille, finds herself laughing at his stories, leaning forward, forgetting to be the Ice Queen. Outside, Chicago moves around them, oblivious to the quiet revolution happening in a corner booth. 2 invisible people, finally seeing each other. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.